The more you try to keep me down and keep my head above the water, you can never hold me down. The more you try to block me out, that's where I kick the wall down. You can never hold me back. The more you try to put me out, the more I'll be blazing, it's too hot. The more you try to put me in the dirt, increase my work, the expert. You see the hunger in the eyes of a survivor. Swallowed my pride, washed down with some saliva. Reinvented my whole life, mental MacGyver. One door shut, another open up wider. Listen, battle drums in the distance, moving with enough force like army tank pistons. Pray for the strength of Jah to fight resistance. Fight mode, shields up, moving with resilience.
The strength of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant. Please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong.
Hey everybody, it's Casey with Pinecase. Tonight I'm hanging out with the lovely Miss Phyllis. Listen, I gotta change that song or something, because every time it comes on I get a little teary-eyed and I'm like, yeah, we gotta stay strong, we gotta do all this stuff.
Oh,
like,
I know, but I'm sitting there jamming. I'm like, yeah, I get like this.
Right? I was like, oh my goodness, this is like, I gotta switch something up. That's actually my cousin. Shout out to New Brian. He's down in Jamaica, actually, like we were just talking about. He put that whole song together and he donated it to Pinecase for us to use. So
wow. I mean, I like it. It's got a nice beat to it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I gotta just a quick public apology, because we had talked about doing this in the past and life happens, like you said. And this one was on me for the rescheduling a few times, actually, because I tried to sneak you in there on Tuesday. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us at Pinecase. It really does.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Please let everybody know a little bit about yourself, because in your bio, I mean, there is a lot going on. You've obviously gone through the gamut in your life. And I want to say come out triumphantly, but that's not without like serious heartbreak and tears shed and things like that. So it's really hard for me to use words like that, because obviously we're still grieving in some of these situations. And I just don't know if that's maybe the appropriate word. As for you as an individual, though, you do nothing but absolutely impress. And I think it's a really powerful thing, especially as a mom, to come on here and be so brave and to be able to speak about something that is so extremely personal. And I think it's important because we're living in this really, really bizarre time where, when I was younger, we would talk about like, heroin, like it was a big deal and it killed and it was something. But then fentanyl happened and it started taking out people like left, right, and center. And so not only is obviously addiction and suicide and all these other things really tough, and we've always kind of dealt with them, but with the fentanyl crisis especially, it seemed to kind of raise those numbers. And so even if not all of that specific to you and your story, I think it's really important to get the word out there and to help end stigma and allow other people to find support in a situation that they might not understand or haven't had any other dealings with. And I'm sorry for being so emotional. It's just, when it comes to moms, it's like, gets me.
Yeah. So, I was, I came into recovery when I was 12, believe it or not. I lost my father, my birth father, at 10. He died of leukemia, and that really just, it rocked my world. I lost my dad. And I think my addiction and my alcoholism took off at 12. I think my stepdad, my mom remarried my stepdad at 12, and I think my dad knew because of my behaviors and stuff. So my life, from 12 up to 50, it's just been in and out of, jails and institutions and group homes and runaway houses and, charges. I just did some things in my recovery that I'm not proud of. And it was just in and out. And finally, just like at 50, I just decided, okay, I've had enough. Trey came to live with me at 14.
Mhm.
And at 14, he was doing the same thing his mom was doing, skipping school, in and out of, just doing his thing. And I tried to tell him, Trey, you got to go to school. There was an incident one time in Hall County. He did not want to go to school. There was a sheriff that pulled up, and I said, I had enough. Had enough. Went and told that sheriff what he was doing. The sheriff took him down to the hop right then and there, and he got in trouble for truancy. And I
Oh,
said,
wow.
Trey, you can't smoke pot when you're on probation. You just don't do that, dude. You don't smoke pot. What did Trey do? Smoked pot on probation. So he was taking the same pattern as his mother, in and out of jail, juvenile hall, and all that stuff. I could do nothing with this kid. Nothing. And Ray was in and out of recovery like his mom, but when I finally got sober, things kind of took a turn. He'd call me Captain Recovery or Dr. Phil or whatever. But you know what? I still tried with everything in me.
Yeah.
Everything in me. People would ask me, when's enough? When are you going to stop? I said, that's my child. I will be on a walker walking him in to recovery if that's what it takes. His wife, his beautiful wife, didn't understand that. She wasn't used to all this drama and alcoholism and addiction, but afterwards, when she started doing some research on it and stuff, she was beginning to understand why Trey and I acted the way I did. But Trey was the only one that understood his psychotic mother.
Right.
He was the only one that got me. The only one.
Right. It's interesting because a lot of people don't understand when they're like, oh, recovery. So that means that you went in, you kind of the traditional way. You go to detox, and then you go to rehab, and then you go to like a long-term sober facility, and then you collectively go to AA or NA or CA, whatever is best suited, and then you count days and then hope to shit nothing bad happens. But that's really not what it looks like for people.
Some people get it through AA or NA or church or whatever, and some people don't. And my son was just one of those people that did not click with AA or NA or any of that crap. Now, the one person he did click with at the last few weeks of his life was Pastor TJ Boyd. You'll have to look him up because he's got an incredible story, man. He swallowed a bunch of meth, and then he was in prison. I don't know how he didn't die is a miracle. He swallowed, I think, I may quote wrong, I think it was like 8 grams. And how he lived, I don't know. But he's an incredible pastor. And I met him like 2 years ago. And you've met, Lori. So I met through the, God, that would be awesome, by the way. She told me that you might be coming out. I'm like, God, I hope the fuck we can get her out here, man.
Thank you.
Take you to Waffle House and give some grits.
Yes, that sounds wonderful. That sounds absolutely wonderful.
But I called Pastor TJ and I said, listen, I cannot do anything with him. He's not listening to me. I'm gonna lose him. He's gonna die, man. Yeah. I gotta draw boundaries somewhere along the line. I've done everything I can, but I'm losing him. Yeah. So somehow he connected with Pastor TJ Boyd, and in the last couple of weeks, he had some good progress from Trey. I think Trey had found God. I think Trey, he wanted to go tell his story. This is why I'm trying to go on as many podcasts as I can, because it's not my story anymore. It's my son and I's story, and no matter what, you don't have to pick up. It wasn't easy for me. I thought about going balls to the wall so many fucking times. So many. I know where to go back to ATL. I know where to land. I know where all those damn drugs are. I know where all the nasty motels are. I could have very easily gone the other way. But I've had 40 years of practice of playing that tape over and over and over again. Drinking and drugging was not going to get him back. However, if I thought for 1 minute, putting another fucking needle in my arm or smoking that damn glass dick, as everyone used to call it,
right? Yeah.
I would have done it because he was my son.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't ever going to get him back. that wasn't ever going to get him back. I feel his presence when his son's around. He's got a little redhead boy, Spitfire, old boy, Alexander. He is something else. He's a little redhead, and he may be 5, but he's way beyond his years, like 9 mentally. I think redheads are just smart.
They are
You know?
smart.
Yeah.
They are.
So,
Yeah, they're different for sure. Well, and you know what? Like you said, it's not just your story. It's
Yeah.
your story, the two of you. And when you mention your grandson, it's like it's bigger than that. And so often we get hung up on the way people pass. They're like,
Yeah.
we call it casket stigma around here because it's like, oh, that's how they went, and that seems to like overshadow anything good in their life. But this is your baby boy. Like I'm a boy mom, for those of those who are watching, those know, like, and girls are great. It's not that. It's just that there is a certain bond between mom and son that is
Absolutely.
it does not matter whether you raised him. It does not matter if he lived with his dad. It does not matter if whatever. There's something there that is so tangible that I cannot imagine. I can't even wrap my mind around not having that anymore. And so the idea that you were in recovery, you found your recovery and then lost your son and stayed clean and sober is, I mean, if it's not because you're supposed to be doing this, then I'm not really sure what it is, because I can't think of, at that point, it's like, I get that you have family. I get there's other reasons and you deserve your recovery more than anybody else. But it would be a really hard, pardon the pun, pill to swallow to deal with something like that. So I commend you absolutely for sticking it through and finding any sort of light in this situation, because not everybody can.
No, and I have I've got a beautiful daughter.
Yes.
I've got a beautiful, gosh, she's so pretty. I didn't raise her, I've got no shame in my game, but I was very active in her life. I was up here every single weekend. I was helping her with college when, I had a car wreck and got settlement, and I gave her some money. I've always been very, very active in her life, and I will never dismiss that ever. Yeah. It's just Trey and I had a different relationship than I have with her. And I don't talk to her. She doesn't talk to me about Trey, or I don't really talk to her about her brother, because she doesn't want to see me cry.
Yeah.
And then, every time I bring up Trey, it's just, it's just tearful, it's just hurtful. So I don't talk about it, but, and I know she's probably grieving on her own. I know that was her only brother, I mean, she doesn't talk to me about it a lot, but, I'm sure she is in her own way, but I don't bring it up, I've got good days and bad days, and there's one time I think my bad day, like, okay, this is the 5th day I've been crying, where I'm snotty crying, cannot breathe. I've had enough. What's going on? So I had to change my mind frame. I had to change my mind frame.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to do things. And, I think Trey's proud of me. I told him I was going into the prison. He's like, what the fuck, Mom? I've never seen anybody that's so excited to go back into the prison. I never want to step foot in there again. But he didn't get it. He didn't get it. For one, I can go back in that some bitch, and those doors will slam, but guess what? I'm walking out. I'm walking out. Y'all can get smart and run your mouth all you want, but I'm walking out,
Right.
That's one of the reasons, but I can relate to these girls. My addiction took me to prison. A place I never thought I was going to be, and my ass landed in prison. I you don't say the word "fuck" in prison in front of a prison guard, because they get the SWAT team on your ass and they tag you and you go to lockdown for saying "fuck." And it's an it was insubordination to an officer, because I said "fuck." Well, I never said that word again around them. But I didn't know that, I just want to do my time and get the hell out of here. But that prison didn't do nothing for me. Felicia didn't do shit. I got out, and I got involved with a young stud. I was 20 years older than him. Started doing meth together and all kinds of stuff. So what was that? When finally when I seen all the the scratches and what people do when they do a lot of meth, they scratch and they,
Oh yeah.
and I'm like, And that was the last time I ever picked up anything. And that was 14 years ago. It'll be 14 years in November. I just couldn't do it anymore. But I was very, very supportive of Trey. Me and Melissa joke about it now, but she said, damn, you sure helped him. I got his ass all the way to California. I said, I'm getting you in rehab, but your ass is going to California because me and your wife need a break, man.
We need a
fucking break. We need a time. We need something. And we all laughed about it, but he went to California. But, to me, going to Starbucks or riding horses on the beach, that's not rehab. That's relaxation. I wish he would have gone to, I guess, the aftercare that they asked him for, but no, he just had to get home. And then he relapsed. And then we sent him to Bradford. And then he relapsed again. And then he just decided that he wasn't going to do it. He could do it. He was fine. And he went back out on the road. And I think that's where he fucked up, because he was by himself again, and his drinking and his drugging, and this is what I don't understand about it. Me, I've worried, I'm an addict, but I'm not the addict that says I just do drugs. I can handle drinking. Drinking's a drug. I'd like
so you're like 100% clean. We ain't doing nothing.
We ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. But there is people out there.
Yeah.
That are going to NA, but drink.
Yes. There actually is full movements happening right now. Like, first of all, I got so many questions. We're gonna have to go back to this jail situation, and we're definitely gonna touch back on this, like what your son was up to, because I got some. But before we get back to that, like it's interesting because there's these movements that are happening called like Cali sober, which is like you can smoke weed if that's the lesser of two evils. You know what I mean? And if that's gonna keep you off of heroin, smoke weed, right? So it's interesting. And then there's people that are like, well, you can't do anything but sit there and smoke and cigarettes and drink coffee. And the argument is like, but caffeine and nicotine, like, so where do you draw the line? Like, I'm super curious to know like what your opinion is on that, because it's kind of a tough situation.
It is tough because I personally don't think there's anything wrong with people that may need Suboxone or may need, if it's keeping them off of everything else, I don't go for it, but I just choose not to do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I've got an addictive personality. So if I said, well, I think I'm just going to go to just do CBD or something, or just, whatever, it's going to lead to other things.
You're like, leave me out of this.
It's like it's gonna lead me to other things.
I don't want your THC, your CBD, none of that. That's so I mean, fair enough. And what's interesting is the conversation comes up a lot, like MAT or MAT medication. What can get you off of your heavy duty hooking and selling your soul type of drugs, other people like abuse. And so it's so interesting. I always find it really curious. Like, I like to get other people's opinions because, people are like, I would never do Suboxone rot your teeth out. And it'll like, I use that stuff to get high. And then other people are like, Suboxone saved my life. Or, in that conversation.
And I've heard that. I never was at the Suboxone clinic or the methadone clinic or any of that crap. It's not that I didn't try it. One time he'd break off a little piece for me, and the shit would make me sick as a damn dog. I'm like, fuck, this is like fucking heroin in a pill. What the hell's wrong with you? Fuck you. No, I don't like this shit. So I just did not like the Suboxone or the methadone or any of that crap. But I don't have anything. If that's what they need, and just like, people like, well, you shouldn't take antidepressants or any of that crap. My dad was he was very hardcore AA, very hardcore, he didn't, don't come in here talking about drugs, but
so your dad got you into like AA at 12, you said. This is
my stepdad. Yeah.
It's like Drew Barrymore type of stuff. Like 12 years old is like, that's super young to be walking those doors. I know that I've been in those meetings and I white knuckled those meetings, regardless of like what actually brought me there. I was like, I'm just going to get the information. If I'm going to start a podcast about all of these topics, I need to know what the hell I'm talking about and why people go. And I'll tell you what, I white knuckled that the entire way. Maybe because some of the things they were talking about I've heard before and I've heard other people recite them and then turned around and completely done a bunch of terrible stuff, and like that's my association with it a little bit. That's personal, my trauma. But
right.
But even on their own, they're quite intimidating meetings. So at 12 years old, I would imagine that being a bit
I didn't understand it. It's like, wait a minute. Why am I the fucky looking one to be in here with my dad with all these old farts smoking cigarettes and boyfriend and everything else, and and all the other kids are outside playing.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, did you know that I was an alcoholic at 12? She goes, well, yeah. She knew. She said, why do you think I let your dad handle you? My brother, Pat, thank you, Pat. He's the one that introduced me. He goes, I got something for you. So he introduced me to a Budweiser, a tall boy Budweiser, and a joint.
Yeah,
and man, I fell in love.
Yeah, of course you did.
I used to have those glasses, cat eye glasses. They're popular now, but the ones that were pointed up here.
Of course, yeah, those are awesome. They're so cute.
Oh well, they were in style now, but back then I could, I was called Phyllis Stiller, so I had this big inferiority complex. So when I drank and drug, it was like that ugly duckling turned into a swan.
Oh, okay.
So I was like 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I just it was just totally different world for me. And he saw the demeanor in me. I changed, and I started wearing tighter clothes and stuff that says single and free across my chest. Nothing like fucking advertising, seriously. And then I think at 15, I told my mom, I came home, I said, I've decided I know what I want to do in life. I'm going to be a biker's bitch.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. I did. You can ask my mom. I did. Yeah. She was just appalled. Now,
Calico's in the comment section right now, probably just freaking out. I know. That's so funny when you're like, this is what I'm gonna grow up to be, Mom. Don't you worry about me. Like,
I'll be fine. I'm gonna be a biker bitch. And you gotta remember now, my mom, she's got 56, 57, maybe 58 years of black belt Al-Anon. She still goes to Al-Anon. She still sponsors a lot of people.
That's interesting. Calico said, I used to hang out at Al-Anon Club because my friend's parents went there.
Yeah. Yeah. And my mom, and she,
your mom was like, probably could recite all that stuff.
Yeah. I asked her, I said, how come, why wasn't Dad always talk to me? She goes, because you were fucking drunk and I wasn't dealing with you. So I'd hand the phone to your dad.
And he's like, no, we're sending your ass to AA right now. Oh my gosh. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So fast forward a little bit then, because so you somehow navigate that, which is wild in itself. And then you start having beautiful babies, right? And then, so, I mean, you don't have to get too much into it, but like, where did that, because you said you didn't raise your daughter and your son had, I don't want to say you weren't close to one. Obviously you had two separate relationships.
Yeah.
Both great and hard for different reasons. But like, how do you transition into that? Like, obviously,
so what happened was when I moved up here, I followed my boyfriend that I met in juvenile hall.
Okay.
Oh and I met his best friend, and we got drunk that night, and I ended up in his bed.
Okay. Yep.
So that's what happened, and I guess I fell in love with his best friend, and that's him and I had kids and stuff. Okay. So, and he joined the Navy, and we were in Hawaii, and we had a pretty good marriage, I thought, and then we had Trey, and then I realized, that he was cheating on me, and Trey was 10 days old, and I'm like, screw this. So I left, but I couldn't handle or fathom being a single parent with two young kids. The addiction took over. So I think Amanda was 4 and Trey may have been 2, and I was living in Colorado, not doing good. I called his mother. I said, you got to come get these kids. I just can't do it. So she came and got them, so Arno, my ex-husband, raised them for the most part. I mean, I was still involved in their lives,
Mhm.
And then Mandy went off to college, at 18, and she did her thing. And, she met a guy and got married, and then they got divorced. And now she lives in Somerville, right down the road from me. She's the one that brought me back out here.
Yeah.
And, I just was just two different scenarios. It's like I had this really good angel daughter, and then I had Trey over here that was just being a little shit. I wish I could have taken the big book and just smacked him up his head, and he would have gotten it by osmosis, but that didn't work. It didn't work.
I often wonder, because like they say genetic and environment plays a big part on like why and when and how and all that sort of stuff. But I see it all the time. Like regardless of what happened in their childhood, two kids grew up the exact same parents,
Yep.
and then one goes one way and one goes the other way, and it kind of leaves everybody being like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah, and the thing is, I believe with everything in me that I was born an alcoholic simply because my birth father was an alcoholic. Every single one of his brothers, all his kids, it's just like it's so rampant on my dad's side of the family.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe that I was born with a bad gene. My dad, my birth father, killed somebody drinking and driving, and I didn't know this until I was later on in life. So it definitely comes into play. My sister was an addict and recovered, and then my brother Pat. But my other three brothers, I guess, we don't want anything to do with drinking or drugging after we've seen these three fools go through what they've been through.
Yeah,
We're
like,
not really for that shit. So, my brother Tim has admitted that he may have, gotten a little out of control with alcohol, but I think he's seen enough of us, here I was, in my early 40s, and I'm going to fucking prison. What's up with that? A place I never thought I would go to, but I ended up,
I'm glad you said it, but I really do believe that these things are not above anybody. Like people are like, oh, that, they went through this and they're so and so, and that oh my goodness, our neighbor's daughter's in rehab. Like people got to let that go. That whole mentality, let that go, because these things, we're just not above them. This stuff can happen to anybody. Honestly, I've known doctors, lawyers, CEOs. The guy that used to own A&W, I know what he was up to because I was the one going through his drive-through. So nobody is safe from any of this stuff. And I think it's really, neat that you're willing to come on here and talk about it. Like, you're like, man, we're just regular people. Because although you went to AA at 12 and all that stuff, this is actually not, I don't want to say it's not extreme, because I'm sure it was hard to go through. This is still just kind of regular people stuff. People really do go through these things. People and survive. Like, these are not actually, I don't want to devalue anything that you're saying. I just am trying to say, like, where I grew up on, in the community that I grew up in, these are actually quite common scenarios. People really just go through this shit. And then being someone's old lady, like, yeah, those are kind of goals that like some of us had. Like, we're like, yeah, that looks good to us because that was the best looking scenario there was in the community. It was like that or whatever that is over there. We don't want none of that.
And when I go to meetings, there's dentist there, there's a dentist there, there's a lawyer there, there's a doctor there, there's a nurse there, there's a police officer there. And I'm not gonna say names, I'm not gonna break their anonymity, but they're my friends, and they're just normal people that got an alcohol problem,
Yeah, absolutely. So why did you decide, like you said, I ended up in jail and it's not where I thought I was going to be. How do you end up in jail and then decide to go back? Because you went in there and started advocating and helping other people go through their sentences and dealing with the reality of it. You said, at least I could go home at the end of the day, but I'm sure that it must have impacted you.
God. Yeah, there was much more to it,
Yeah.
In order for me to keep this shit, I had to give it away, and I had to, I prayed about it, and God kept telling me, this is where he wanted me, was in the jail, and I couldn't get into the jail when I first moved out here because of COVID hit, so the place that I was going through, they said, oh, we'll just have you teach classes. I'm like, fuck, I'm an addict and alcoholic. I'm not college educated. I don't know how to teach classes. Oh, you'll be fine. So they put me on the computer. I passed all that stuff. And I just started teaching classes to people that are like court ordered, like anger management or boundaries or parenting. You know, they got in trouble with drugs with their kids or whatever, and they're making them take all these classes. So that's where I started. And then I was able to get into the jail, you know, and that's where I enjoyed being, because these girls were broken, so fucking broken. They, you know, and they had lost their kids and they didn't see any way out. They were in and out of this jail all the time. But I showed, you know what? So was I. So was I. And never in a million years did I think that I'd be going into the jail. The last place I'd be going into jail. Yeah. But I've gotten so much out of it. You know, I've done it for 3 years, but I had somewhere along the line, I had to let something go. And that was one of the things I let go, was jail ministry. And it broke my heart. Yeah. But I feel like God promoted me from jail to prison. And people may laugh, but prison is a totally different ball game. You know, those girls are rough in there, and there's some bad shit that goes on in there. But I'm still able to minister to the girls that really want this and give them hope. And all those girls in there, they're in there for 25 to life. They may not ever see the light of day, but at least I can give them, hey, I'll be here every month. Wow. You sign up for this and I'll be here every month. You know, and it's just something I want to do. It's something that makes me feel good. It's something that makes me feel closer to my son. You know, I can hear him say, Mom, you're such a badass.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. 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 No, absolutely. Oh man. You know, it's interesting because you're like, you know, to go from jail to then prison and what that means. And I was in my mind, I was thinking about like when you go through things, it's like the more things you have to go through is like the higher your calling is, or like the high, you know, the more then you have to like bring back that message to people. And that's, you know, there's a reason why you go through this. So obviously there's like a set of reasons why you had to go through all of this stuff. Although you don't necessarily have to take all of that stuff, package it up, and then push it back to other people to then utilize. And so to donate your time like that, whether you're getting paid or not, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, donate, like really, you know, and to serve people like that. It's just incredible. And like, I mean, I guess up here, when you talk about jail and prison, the different, like, so us, that's like provincial versus federal time. And it's like, and then it's like 2 years minus or 2 years plus a day. Is that the same thing down there?
Most of those girls down there, it is, I don't know how to answer that. They're, it's a maximum security prison, Tutwiler.
Yeah. Okay.
So most of them are doing 10 years or more.
Okay.
You know, or 15 years or more. They've done some brutal crimes. You know, I got to go in and visit all the women that were on death row and talk to them. And it was an amazing experience. And thank goodness I didn't know what they did before I went in there. But of course, you know, inquiring minds got to know, right? So I went and Googled it all. And I pray those women get salvation. They're right where they're supposed to be. You know, they're just right where they're supposed to be. I just hope that they find salvation. You know, it's just sad of some of the crimes that they committed. It was all with their children. And I just don't understand that. That's something I don't understand that at all. You know, me and Trey may have had a love-hate thing going at times, and we may have been toxic, but we loved each other so hard. I mean, I've got so many good memories of him. Some of them that, you know, people may not like, but it's my memory, you know?
Listen, I don't give a shit who or what, but not if active addiction was all bad, believe me when I say people would not stick around for it long. Like, I'm not willing to allow other people to take that away from me. I'm not saying that it's glorious and everyone needs to be out there doing it, but to pretend like it's all heinous and terrible, like people really do, you know, hang out and play dice and shoot the shit and, you know, have roasted, you know, beef dinners once in a while in fucking garden. Like, it's not all like,
I had some good using times with my son. I'm sorry, but I can look back at some of the shit him and I did. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I mean, and I don't care. You know, it's good memories for me. You know,
absolutely.
He got me to try, and and I didn't want to, but he got me to try it. I guess I've never even, when I was doing drugs, they didn't even have the shit ecstasy or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, oh, okay, let's try this.
Yeah.
So him and his little girlfriend are doing whatever they're doing. And he finally knocks on the bathroom like 3 hours later. Mom, you got to come out of there. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm in there painting the whole bathroom blue and standing in the shower under the, I guess I felt I was in the rainforest or something. I don't know. And then he goes, Mom, you've got to, no, I'm good. Good. I mean,
Just
some of the
feeling
shit,
it.
some of the shit him and I would do. Oh my God.
Oh my
Or,
gosh.
we'd sit around and he called it chiefing and we'd smoke a lot and we'd go down to Taco Bell and order every damn thing off the menu.
Yeah.
We never eat at all, but we'd order everything off the menu. I had some good times with Trey, and that's what I got to keep, got to keep in my heart.
Yeah.
I miss him. I miss him every fucking day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like maybe I'm doing too much. I'm sponsoring too many women, or I'm volunteering for this or volunteering for that. This is my way of healing. It's pouring into other women that may have lost their sons to addiction and are they're at that line where they're like, fuck this, they're going to use. They don't have to. That's not going to bring their baby back. I promise you, it's not going to bring their baby back. Not at all. And he's always going to be my baby boy. He's always going to be my baby boy. He married a girl that it wasn't like anyone that I would expect my son to be with. But she's a beautiful young lady. Her and I have had our differences, but that's okay. We're okay today. We're okay today. And I know that she loved Trey and Trey loved her. And I think that if Trey would have gotten sober and really made an effort to get sober, I believe that marriage could have been rectified. I really do. She's not like it. She's totally clean. She's totally straight. I've never even seen her drink. I think she's drank maybe once or twice, but I've never seen her drink. She's got my grandson in private school, and she's just, she's doing the damn thing. She's kind of having a hard time right now. And she don't want to talk about it, and that's okay. I'm just going to keep praying for her. Just going to keep praying for her. That's all I can do. And tell her whenever she, wants me to come get Alex, just let me know. I'll drop whatever I'm doing and come get that baby. Because like I said, I don't know how to explain it. It's like in my apartment, I feel there's just like a peaceful, easy flow going in here. And this was amazing. I don't care if people believe me or not. Me and Alex were in my room. My curtains just started flowing. And the window wasn't even, it just started flowing. And Alex would stand over there and then the drapes would just wrap themselves around. It was just a light breeze, and I'm like, I wonder if that's Trey just showing him, showing us that he's around,
Yeah, you're at Nana's house. Everything's all right, baby. Of course that's him. I don't even think you have to question any of that. I mean, I don't think that you have to question any of that. But you already know that, and I mean, a lot of us, we associate things with things, butterflies and dragonflies and all those things. And you know what? I think it's all of that and more. It's the stars, the sky, it's the quiet moments and the loud ones. And,
I'm getting a tattoo. Oh, my mom's not watching this. Well, she is. Oh well, she'll know now. But I'm getting a half a sleeve of his portrait.
Oh wow!
And it's gonna say Trey, my boy, and then the day he was born. I don't want to remember his death date.
No.
I want to remember the day he was born. And I know I'll see him again. I know. He just gives me signs, that he's around. There's just stuff that someone psychic had told me one time that there'll be black bugs or something. I'm like, I don't want no damn. Remember, that's gonna bring black bugs in my house. He better go on with himself about that. And I found like 3 black beetles in my house that I've never seen. I'm like, listen, man, you know how I feel about bugs, Trey. Knock it off.
Oh, that's so funny.
And he's got 3 kids. He's got Lacey. She's in college and she's doing really good.
Mhm.
She not one of us, thank God. She you know, she had other issues going on, but she's doing great. She's studying biology right now, and she said she thinks she wants to go into what is it when they go to a crime scene? What is that?
Forensic analysis.
Forensic scientist is what she wants to
Mhm.
do. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
you know, the thing is that you said one of us, and like when you say that, do you mean
Yeah.
like she doesn't battle with things, or she's successful? Like, what exactly do you mean? Because,
Oh,
darling, like, I mean, there's
what
beauty in
I
all
would
of it.
say that she didn't have a problem with drugs or alcohol.
Okay.
She had
Okay.
other issues going on that, you know, that's for her to decide if she wants to say anything.
That's her
But you
business.
know,
Yeah, we don't
that's
need to
her
get into all
story.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's never had any alcohol or drug tendencies that I know of. You know, thank God. I'm hoping that the stigma stops with her. You know,
Yeah.
I hope that Braylon grows up, his middle daughter grows up and never has a problem. You know, Alex, I hope he grows up and never has a problem. You know, Braylon was born addicted,
hmm
and
It
I
happens.
went through the roof, you know, and
It
I had a
happens.
really hard time with the mother for a long, long time. And then God finally sat me down and he said, so what you're trying to tell me is you're a better addict than her.
Right. Yeah, and
And
that's
I'm
another
like,
tough one because
whoa.
exactly. Well, we all have tolerance for stuff until it comes to the babies, which is fair.
Yep.
It's fair.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, like, does that make you a better? Yeah, does it make you better? Or
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing is
And
that there is arguments about fetal alcohol syndrome, and we don't need to get into
yeah,
all that today because
yeah,
the bigger
yeah,
conversation, and that's not really what's up for debate here.
yeah,
But for you to, like, you know, find some peace and make amends, the only
yeah.
thing it's about is the kid. It doesn't really matter about how we
Right.
feel about nothing.
You
Like,
know, and so, you know, I've mended my relationship with Megan today, you know,
mhm,
and I have a good relationship
good.
with her today, and I have a good relationship with Melissa. You know, I
Mhm,
want to keep a good relationship with all the mothers. You know,
yeah.
I've had problems with all 3 of them. You know, and
Yeah.
it's okay. You know, I think half of it, 90% of it was probably me. It was you know, my addictive thinking and my mouth. You know, my mouth
Mhm,
has got me in more trouble than I can say. You
right.
know, but I want to keep a good relationship with them today. You know, they're the mother of my grandchildren, and you know, I'll be in their lives the rest of their life, just like they're going to be in my life the rest of my life. You
Mhm.
know, so it's good to keep a good relationship, you know. I mean, and I joke about it all the time. Yeah, my son was a hoe. He's got 3 kids by 3 different moms.
3 different women, 3
You know,
baby
3 different
mamas.
women, you know. Damn, you know. But
Oh, that,
yeah,
you know what, man, it's so beautiful in its own way, and none of that, you know,
yeah.
all it comes down to is the relationships now and what everybody's gonna do with that. And yeah, it's our responsibility as, you know, the grandmas and the moms to make sure that that's facilitated and that those kids grow up to be, you know, healthy and happy and whatever that looks like, that we're
Right.
teaching in kind. So,
They're also
um,
spread out, you know, like Lacey's in North Carolina. No, she's moved to Georgia, and then Braylon's in Pennsylvania, and then Alex is here in Coleman. But, you know, I get all the grandkids together once a year because I
mhm,
feel it's very, very important that
mhm,
they see, because, you know, Lacey and they're all got the same dad, but different
yeah.
moms. And it doesn't matter. They're brother and sisters, you know. And when Braylon comes to visit, I make sure they all get together and we all just have a good time, you know.
But you understand that you've been a
Yeah,
gypsy since forever. I mean,
yeah,
you're Hawaii and you're talking
yeah.
about ATL and like all this. I'm like, girl, you've been around, like, you know what I mean? So you know, we understand that. That's,
The,
you
the,
know,
the kids took
what we
me.
bring together.
Grandma decided it was a fucking great idea
Uh-huh.
to go chase waterfalls.
Oh.
So we go down, fine. And we get
Mm-hmm.
there and they're jumping all in the water and with these waterfalls and shit. And I weighed about, I don't know, 40 pounds heavier than what I am now. So trying to
Mm-hmm.
walk up that damn motherfucker, I was out of breath. I was dying. I was literally dying. I said, Everett, I'm dying. We're going to have to call 911. He goes, Grandma, come on. I'll help you. I'll help you. So Everett helped me all the way up there. And when I got to the top, I swear to God, I thought I was going to puke my brains out. I said, we're not doing that shit again. We are not doing that. They said, I'm taking
Oh.
them to Six Flags. Are you going on the scary rides, Grandma? No, I'm not. I'm 62. I'm not doing that shit no
We,
more.
yeah, you've already put your time in with the crazy. Yeah, we could just
No.
like saying,
Now,
oh my God.
but that's funny I say that though, because I'm going zip lining 3,500 feet in the air in Jamaica in May.
Yeah.
And when I was decided whether I was going to do swim with the dolphins or go zip lining, I swear to God, I heard Trey and me, Mama, fuck them dolphins. You go zip lining.
Oh my God, you're right.
You know, I'm like, okay, motherfucker. I'm gonna
Okay,
be
we going zip
your
lining.
name all the way down. The whole time I'm zip lining down this 3,500 feet in the air. So it's too late now. I've already paid for it, you know. So it's gonna be awesome. I think it's
That's
gonna be
really cool.
exhilarating. You know, it's
Yeah.
a tribute to Trey. Like look at what your mom's done. You know, I'm 62
Yeah.
and I'm going zip lining in Jamaica.
Yeah. Yeah. And grab it by the fucking balls. Like,
Oh yeah,
just,
most
you know,
definitely. Most definitely.
like man, you did all this, you survived all this, you've gone, you know, and I know it's not going to be the end of it. I know life is still going to throw, you know, stuff your way, but yeah, I mean, when moments come up that you can just take by the goddamn balls, you know, Lori was saying, get on that roller coaster, sis. And I mean, yeah,
Yep.
sure, you know, totally, like those are moments, whether we just be standing on the sidelines or really participating, like it's just, yeah, life really does have a beautiful way of showing itself and reminding us that we're still alive, and
Yeah.
not, well, maybe not all of us, because you know, we really have lost people for real. I say that and I immediately took it back, because I was like, man, shit, you're not the only person that's buried people. We really have buried a lot, you know. But
He needs to be saying up when he needs to be looking down and saying, Mom,
yeah,
damn, you've lost a lot of weight. Because
yeah, you look good. You look good.
I have. I've lost, you know, I've lost, it's taken me about 2 years. A lot of it was grief. I will say that. I think the first 4 months or something, I just, you know, I just could not eat. You know, I didn't even think I was going to even be able to go through Kairos. You know, when I signed up for Kairos, Trey had died a week before I was supposed to start.
Right.
You know, so I went to my first meeting and I'm like, oh my God, there's just no way. I can't. There's just no way I can't do this. But God kept pushing me. You can do this. Come on, I'm going to do this with you.
Yeah.
And I went to every single meeting. And Trey had been maybe 4 months gone when I went into the prison. And it was an experience. It was lightning in my heart, but it was also like, fuck, you know, Trey's gone. He's gone. Sometimes I can't. I just, I'm like, damn, Trey, when are you going to call? You know, but I know he's not going to call. So I talked to him. You know, I know people probably think I'm crazy in the car talking to myself, but hey, it is what it is, you know? At least I'm not sleeping with his clothes. I mean, first week I got all of his shirts and stuff. Melissa gave us some stuff, you know, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with these shoes, but I always remember my son wearing these black Fila shoes, tennis shoes. He always wore them, and they stunk from, oh my God. I told him, take them outside, you know, but I ended up getting them and washing them and cleaning them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I took them. You know, it's one thing that I want of Trey's, you know. I spread his ashes at the beach in California, you know, and that was really enlightening. He always wanted to go to the beach. He always wanted to go surfing. So Mom took him to the beach in California, you know. It's never going to be, I don't think it's ever going to get easier, Cliche. I think it's going to get softer, you know. I've got good days. I got bad days, you know. The days where I'm able to breathe are few and far between.
Yeah, I was just gonna like,
Yeah.
this, yeah, it's since we started this, like my chest, like I've had a frog in my throat and my chest just feels like there's a brick on it. But yeah, trying to catch your breath from that. I don't mean to be so invasive.
Yeah.
When I ask this, so please, like, please, like, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm just like, what the hell do you do to fill that time when you realize like that's in, like that's it, like how do you even
just gotta ask God, Cliche. That's all I can do. You know, like I'm not doing well. I can't breathe. I miss him. I want him back. Sorry.
No, I shouldn't have asked that. I just like,
Okay. But it's God. It's absolutely God. I give him all the glory. Even though I was so mad at him, when he died, when Trey died, I'm like, oh no, buddy. I'm not going to pray to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want nothing to do with you, dude. I finally gave up the fight. I finally surrendered my son to you. I could not do it no more. And this is what happens.
yeah.
You fixed me. Why in the fuck can you fix him? I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. Why? But when I finally was able to like get all that fog out of all the cobwebs out of my head and just realize, that he's gone and that, I got to start living. I have to, get out of this. Things started happening for me, and it's all because of God. I have sponsees that are not sure about God. They're not really sure about God.
I was just gonna say, listen, I'm not saying it's nothing about God. I just mean like from human to human.
Yeah.
Girl, you are really putting in the work here. Like he may be doing his thing and guiding you on your way, but I don't know how to say this without being disrespectful towards religion, but the sweat equity that you are putting in there is yours and yours alone. I mean, I really truly do believe that. I can't. He can have all the glory, that's fine, but darling, like you don't make those decisions without having a thought about it first, and you better damn well take all the credit for that.
It's just, and a lot of people, that you've got a daughter, you've got grandkids, you've but when Trey first died, it didn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be with Trey.
Yeah,
that's all. I wanted to be with Trey. I didn't raise my daughter, and I raised Trey, and I was hurting so fucking bad. I was being selfish, and I thought about it. I thought a million times, how can I do this? But then I thought, how fucking selfish to leave my daughter and all my grandkids too when they just lost Trey.
Yeah.
And then I started snapping out of it. It hasn't been easy. There's days I just don't want to. There's days I take Phyllis days. I'm like, fuck this. And I stay in the bed and I close the room and it's dark and it's cold. And that's all I do. And I cry because I need that. I don't think
you're allowed to, man. And, I talked about on the show before with a lovely friend of mine, Milk from Milk and Joy Entertainment. And we joked about, you're allowed to be funky. Like you got to be funky sometimes. Like sometimes you just got to be funky. Like it's not even about like being funky specifically, but just like sometimes you just need to be in your cocoon or whatever. Like because it doesn't really. There's not like a TV show or a friend, and no shade to other people, but there isn't another human being that's going to make you feel okay. It's just such a not selfish. It's such an intimate thing. Like. And people are so lovely because they say I'm so sorry, and they they try and
they don't know what to say. I mean,
they don't know what to say, and it's
not a whole lot they can say.
Yeah.
Ask me how I'm doing. I don't know how to answer that. I've lost my son. I'm doing the best I can every day. And there's times I just don't want to do life. I want to just go in my room and shut the door and pretend this is a big fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So, I got the phone call when I was door dashing at Chick-fil-A, and I was just in shock. I was like, this, got the call. Are you Phyllis Klaiber? And that's a phone call you never want to fucking get. But I knew in the back of my head one day that I was going to get that call. I just didn't know when. I didn't know what time of night. I didn't know how he was going to die. He was in two horrible. I mean, how he survived, I don't know. Wrecks in the car. The last one, he deliberately tried to run his head on into a telephone pole, and he was drunk. But he sideswiped it somehow and crawled out the back of the window, and he was dancing down the street when the damn cops found him. Drinking whiskey or some shit, and he didn't even remember. I saw that truck, and I'm like, how does someone fucking survive this? How did you survive? And you would have thought, I'm like, Trey, take a good look at your life. God has spared you, dude. Take a good look. He
Just like
doesn't
a
want you
cat.
dead, man. You straighten up, and I don't know. I don't know. I really had no idea, and I really mean this from my heart. I had no idea he was back on hard drugs. I had no idea that he was doing meth and smoking crack and all that shit and snorting cocaine. I thought he was drinking and he was like his mother and he was a blackout drinker and he was mean and he was evil and he was a shit. And I couldn't stand being around him when he was drinking. But I had no idea that he was back on hard drugs, man. I had no clue, and then I fight with that. Well, fuck, if I had known, then I could have done something. I did something for him every other fucking time. Why not this time?
Right. But like, I mean, those are all stimulants, like those are all so explain to me what happened then, because you don't have to get into details. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cry. I just mean, like, even if somebody was using those, like, those are all stimulants. People don't tend to lose their life over that.
Yeah. I know he was drinking. All I know is that it was a cocaine and fentanyl overdose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think Trey would say, "Hey, I want some fentanyl and I want some cocaine."
Right.
The only person that knows what happened is going to be is Trey.
Him.
But I just don't. I don't know. I didn't even know Trey even did fentanyl. I had no clue that he did fentanyl. I know he smoked crack, and I know. So my theory is, and this is just my theory, he had this big bruise on his head right here. He had seizures from the first accident. I think he got a hold of some bad shit, had a seizure, smacked his head on the sink there, and fell back because they found him on his back. So that's what I believe in my heart as his mom happened. But I don't, I just know that it was cocaine and fentanyl. So I think he got a hold of some bad stuff. I really do. And the fact that there was still some dope left there, that's why I'm like, oh no fucking suicide. He would have drank that shit. He would have, I don't know. There would have been nothing left.
He wouldn't have left nothing there. There'd be no
because as a drug addict, if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it all.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of my relatives and friends thought, oh, this is going to throw her over. This is it. She's going to go back. She's going to go back to using. And I thought about it, but I didn't have the attitude. Yeah, well, fuck y'all. I'm not going back. I did it because I knew that wasn't the answer. Yeah. I knew that wasn't the answer. It's not that I didn't know where it was. Hell, I know where all that shit is in Atlanta. But that what good is that going to do? They ain't gonna bring it back.
No, and I think about things like this too, and I'm just like, the best way to honor somebody who has passed is to live life and to just rock the shit out of it. Like, what do you do? Like, I don't want people to. I mean, we obviously touched on how he passed away, but like, there's that was probably all of about 20 minutes of his entire life. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much other cool shit that he did that you guys did, and
absolutely.
Whatever. Like, it doesn't even really matter what. Like, obviously, it matters for some people, and I don't want to say it doesn't matter how he passed away. I just mean that, there's so much, just like your tattoo. There's just so much other cool stuff to really push to the forefront that. However he passed, for whatever reason, may he rest.
And I still got all the videos of when we made gingerbread houses, and he was a good father. He was an awesome father. He loved his kids so much when he was sober, but he just could not get past the fact that he thought he was a piece of shit dad because he was in and out of jail all the time and wasn't in his kids' lives, and then he finally meets Melissa and has a chance at a decent life, bought a beautiful home up here in Coleman, 4-bedroom, beautiful home. He had decent, she makes decent money. She's a project manager, I think, and they had a really, really good life. And then he thought in his mind, I can just drink. Drinking's not going to get me.
Yeah.
See, that's where he fucked up, because him drinking, he couldn't control it. If 2 beers make me feel this good, I wonder how many fucking 12 makes me feel.
Yeah.
And then the alcoholism took over. But he didn't want to believe he was an alcoholic. Oh, I'm not going to let fucking alcohol beat me. But it did.
I'm not like, obviously I'm not a doctor, and it's not really my position to be like, that doesn't happen.
No.
However, I think you might be right about the way it happened, because people that drink people that do fentanyl or opiates in general tend not to drink. So if he was drinking, and that was a part, drinking and stimulants tend to go together. People that do opiates, alcohol is not. I mean, I'll put it up in the community and see for a poll. But in my very short 40 years of life, I would be hard pressed to find somebody who did opiates and drank. So
no, I would
drink.
I would drink and get drunk, and I'd want to smoke crack.
But that's a stimulant. Like that's the difference.
And then I'd want to smoke crack. But I was doing both. I mean, I wasn't going to be just an alcoholic. No, I'm going to do drugs too. I mean, why do drink?
But people
drink boring,
People that do opiates, they do opiates specifically. First of all, it's like a physical addiction, but it's also like the high that it gives you. If you drink, it actually takes it away. That's why people tend not to do both. And so if you knew him, and obviously, again, I'm not a doctor, but if you knew him to be a drinker, and then he had fentanyl in his system, and you're like, well, that's kind of fucking weird. Like, I don't think it was supposed to be there. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a cop, I'm not a forensic, crime scene analysis, whatever, technician. But just in my short 40 years, like, it's just not something that go hand in hand very often.
So, and that's why I think he got a hold of some bad stuff. You got a hold of some bad stuff, and that was the end of it. He just wasn't a drinker, but his drinking got out of, within 2 years, he just went downhill. He was nasty. He was ugly. He called his wife some horrible stuff, which I'm sure he's apologized for, but she didn't deserve that, and I don't want to hear, I can't stand, well, he was drunk. That is such a sorry ass that doesn't make it any better. That doesn't say, oh, I'm sorry you were drunk, so you had every right to be an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
That doesn't fly with me. No. Just like when people tell me, oh my God, that could have caused me to use again. That could have caused me to relapse or go out and drink. No, asshole. You make that choice whether you're going to go out and drink or not because of circumstances around you. You make that choice. That's why I just had to get off the damn merry-go-round. I got sick and tired of being dizzy, and I'm done, but don't have me this excuse, and I don't want to glory, my son died. I have every right to go out and drink and drug. No, the fuck I don't. No, I don't. That would just be spitting in his face if I went back out and went balls to the wall. Trey would be so disappointed in me, because he knows that I would not do that. As much as I've thought about it, because you know why? Drinking or drugging takes away that in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then guess what? The problem's still there.
And then you got to clean up the mess from that too. Yeah, not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it at all.
No, if I I'd get a DUI and, kill somebody, or, it would be tragic.
You got too much. Yeah, there's just too much. There's too much importance. The pathway, the trajectory, the journey. Like, there's just too much at stake here for you to. I mean, if you relapse, okay, fine. Girl, you got. You know how to get a hold of me. We're all here for you, and that's not the issue. But if you're sitting here, making conscious decisions, and you're like, yes or no, like, girl, you got way too much to like do here. There's just too much shit to do to be. Laid up with a fucking hangover. Like, there is a mission.
Oh God, I'd probably die from a hangover. I just I can't handle those damn things anymore. Oh, I used to have some bad ones. I thought I was gonna die. I'm never drinking again. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
go drink
Wow.
the beer to take the edge off, you know?
Hair of the dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
hair of the dog is what we used to call
Wake
it.
up at 9 o'clock in the morning and you got to open up a beer just because to feel better. Yeah.
No, thank you.
No.
No, thank you. Pure iron and love is what they're saying that you're made of in the comments right now, which is very sweet. And I think it's very appropriate. I think that's absolutely pure iron and love. I mean, honestly, it's we always say it's balls of whatever, balls of steel. It's really not like it, you know what I mean? It's us, it's the, something about a female warrior that just like the ripple effect is massive. And again, and I've said this a million times, and I'll probably say it a million more. For you to be able to take, your grief and your journey and your laughter and your all of this stuff, and to package it up and to be able to take it into the prison system and to bring it to the internet, bring it to these groups, and bring it to and all these places where people are going to hear this stuff, and hopefully give people the courage and the sense
I'm an open book, and my phone's on 24/7. And I've let my sponsees know that, listen, I mean, I don't just shut y'all off at 9 o'clock. I mean, if you guys need to talk to me at 3 o'clock in the morning, pick up that 200-pound phone and call me. I screw with them all the time. How's your broken arm? I don't know why they broke. Yeah, the fuck it is. I haven't heard from you in about a week. So your arm must be broke because you can't pick up the damn phone. I don't know why, I just don't play with this shit. I guess they would have Gestapo, but this is, it's killing people. You got to take it seriously, and if you've been in and out of recovery, it's time to stop. It's time to stop. Grow up. These girls that are in Sisters United right now, they're what, in their 30, 40 years old, don't have their kids. This is not fatal, final, and forever. You're not going to stay at Sisters United forever. So you're going to have to leave here and go out in the adult world and be an adult and be a mother. Or you're going to end up in the system, and you don't want to go to Tutwiler. I'm going to tell you that right now. You do not want to go to Tutwiler. That place is evil. And, I've heard some stories about what's happened to some of those girls in there, and that could have been me. I was in prison. And if I hadn't turned my life around, I'd be in and out of the prison system. And that's no type of life to live. I don't want to ask anybody permission to go wipe my ass. Okay. I'll wipe my ass on my own, permission to enter, I don't, that's not the type of life for me.
No.
What
do you say to these women that are in there that are like, that is their life?
Take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
They cannot sit there and say, oh my God, I got 20 years. You're never going to get through it. You've got right here, right now. Keep your feet planted right here, right now. And you're an addict, you're in prison, and you're doing this thing one day at a time.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. There's a girl in there that she was in there, she turned 19. It was a very brutal crime that she did. She's been in there for 15 years. She's grown up in there. She's in her 30s. And she's getting paroled. And I hope to God that she reaches out to me, because she's like, I can't do this. I'm institutionalized. I've been here all my life. No, you can do it. You just need a good support system. God doesn't want you in prison.
No.
Or your higher power, whatever, spirituality, whatever whatever your deal is. I just know that, I can't do it. I have to rely on somebody else, and it damn sure isn't me. Left up to my own devices, I'd be back out there.
And honestly, everyone that's watching right now, you guys take notes. First of all, Calico, you're right. Call your mom. Everyone, call your mom. Like, seriously, call your mom, call your grandma, check in, and make sure that's going. But also, like, as women and men are both guilty of this, but for completely different reasons. But start leaning on each other. Like, start leaning on each other. Start taking care of each other. Like, it's not, if you feel that way, somebody else feels that way. Like, it's not, you're not this like weird anomaly in human nature that like is the only person that feels like that. If you guys are out there struggling, man, reach out to each other, support each other, love each other back into this. Back in the day, it used to be like tough love, and you got to ship them off, and you sleep under the rug, and you close the door, and you don't deal with it. And if that's how you deal with it, fine, whatever, that's your business. But right now, if you only have a certain amount of time with that person because they're struggling with addiction anyway, and you already know there's only so many ways out of this, right? Then why not just fucking love that person regardless? If you're going to love them back into sobriety, great. And if you don't, then at least you love them until because
that's why I will never tell anybody no. They ask me to sponsor them. I don't know how many I got. I think I've got 10, 12. Half of them call me, half of them don't. But I will never tell anybody no.
Yeah.
I want them to know that I'm there for you. I've been through it.
I think it's important to say though, Phyllis, because you say that I'll never say no, but what I really think is important is that when we talk about healthy boundaries, and people ask this all the time, how do I deal with somebody? How do I deal with my son that's in recovery? How do I deal with my my mom or whatever? How do I deal with this? So she calls and asks me for money. She calls and asks for a ride. It's like that. You don't have to be somebody's. You don't have. And I hate the word enable because that's got a whole other beast in itself. You don't have to be at somebody's beck and call if you wouldn't do those things for them outside of their addiction.
I've had to put some boundaries down.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm your sponsor. I'm not your banker. I'm not your counselor. I'm not your I'm just here to lead you into sobriety. Yes. And sometimes it's hard because some of the for me, you're supposed to just keep that relationship, but I've got some good friendships with some of my sponsees. They're not just, someone I'm leading through recovery. They're actually genuinely my friend, and they've really helped me through this shit with Trey, because how you doing? I'm fucking not, and I'll tell them I'm just fucking losing my damn, I'm having a bad Trey day, and that's what I call them. I'm having a bad fucking Trey day, and they're there. But there's other people, there's other sponsees that are just strictly, I got to put that boundary down because they're not getting it,
Well, and I say they're like, "Oh, why won't you do that for me?" Why? I'm like, I don't do that for my clean friends, man. Shit, I got shit to do. Like,
exactly. What the hell?
Like, this isn't a you thing. This is like no, I'm not doing that thing. Like,
give
me a break,
exactly.
This is not tough love. It's like, yeah.
Oh, are you coming to say hi?
No,
not near the. Oh, yeah.
What a sweetheart. Yeah,
he is. I love, animals. This boy here he just knows. When Trey first died, he slept with me right up on my pillow every night. Would not leave my side. They just know.
Yeah.
Right now, he just wants attention. That's what this is about.
Yeah, we don't advocate for it a lot on this channel, but we should talk about it more often. Like therapy animals or just support animals are super. They're just
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sisters United, the girls that at the halfway house, they've got a support animal. She knocked me down. She knocked my. I think she's a labradoodle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she's a big she's a big baby, but it's their support animal. I think it does good for them to have an animal. Yeah,
absolutely. I have to tell you a funny story before we go. So when I first started Pinecase, I was before it was on the internet, it was in person. So I would go to different places and public speak and yada 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 and play music. Well, I'll just tell you about it. We used to play music, and instead of going around circle like you do in AA, you would pick a song, so you didn't have to expose what your DOC was. We just talk about the music and how it affects you and so on and so forth. So, anyways, it was like a rehab / detox. So people were there for a short period of time, an obviously short period of time, shorter than 28 days, which is why it would no longer be called a rehab center, right? We're here for
and what is 28 days going to do anyway?
That's a whole other argument. But it was clear to me what we're not doing 3 months, so it's just it's like a detox kind of extended bed place. So so this guy comes in and he's pretty stacked. He's got broad shoulders and he's a bigger dude and serious attitude, hall monitor type. And I'm like, and he comes in and he's like, oh, we have this this therapy dog and all this shit. And I'm like, okay, I guess, but it kind of feels like a drug sniffing dog. You know what I mean? This dog was it looked like a cop dog so hard that I was like, you guys are not fooling anybody. It was just the funniest thing ever. They're trying to pass it off it's this super therapeutic dog, and I'm just like,
oh yeah, you ain't fooling me.
It ain't full of nobody, right? And this one kid who obviously had like a stash on him from over the fence in the back area. So, anyways, he walks out and he like sees the dog. The dog, like, does this dance thing, and Buddy just turns, fucks off to the bathroom. The dog starts barking. I'm like, I think that's a therapeutic. I mean, it's a therapeutic dog for sure, but that's not that's not the same thing. Like, it's so funny, yeah.
Yeah, I know when I got sentenced to go to the prison and the jail, boy, I acted a fool. I thought, I'm going to be really crazy, and they're not going to send me to prison because look what I'm fixing to do. So I got a hold of some
get
bleach.
You a 72 hour.
I got a hold of some bleach. I was drinking bleach.
No, darling.
Yes, I was. Hell, fuck, yes, I was. I thought I'm gonna be really crazy. Well, they put me in a that little jumpsuit and shit, and took me off to the crazy unit for three weeks. But guess what? My ass still went to prison.
Yeah,
my ass still went to prison. It didn't matter. You can act a fool all you want to, but guess what? You're still going to this program.
You may be foaming at the mouth, lady, but that ain't.
But that's okay. You'll recover. Guess what? You're still going to go to prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. In Canada, we have this thing where, like, if you check yourself in for a 72-hour, I'm not really sure how it works, but if you check yourself into a 72-hour, you can't get out, but you do get money. I don't know. Actually, I shouldn't talk about this because I'm not even really sure if it's true or not. Maybe I'll leave that story alone. We'll talk about it off camera. I don't want to start talking about something. Like, you know what? Maybe somebody was pulling my, as I'm saying it, I think somebody might have been pulling my leg, to be quite honest. Maybe they were just trying to get me to check in. That's so funny.
Yeah, exactly. Sign me up.
Like, yeah, totally. I'm gonna have to go back to that. But well, I got everybody's attention, you guys. Like I said earlier, you guys need to take care of each other, support each other, and lean on each other. Don't worry about what people think about it. We're here trying to end stigma. We know that you guys, we deal with the history of some of these things, and a lot of people don't want to, put themselves out there because of the ramifications. Here's the thing. Like I said before, if you're feeling that way or you're struggling with something, that means that somebody else in this godforsaken place is too, and you're not alone. So please don't hesitate. You guys can reach out to us at 250-289-3948. It's a warm line. It's 24/7. We say text it. If you're in a situation where you really need to call, you guys call it. So one of our beautiful volunteers will be there to answer, to make sure. We'll hook you up with the resources in your community. And while we're talking about that, naloxone kits, they do save lives. Narcan down in the States. And of course, the nasal sprays they're a bit stronger than the injectables, but whatever one you get, if you guys want to know how to use them, you can also call that number, and we can also let you know where to find them. So just really quickly, you guys, it's 250-289-3948 will get you to a safe space to just shoot the shit or figure out where you need to go for harm reduction, tools, supplies, things in your community. But you can go ahead and check out your local ERs. Don't harass them and fill them out for no reason, but you can go and ask for harm reduction supplies. And you can also go to pharmacies and ask for your naloxone kits and just let them know that you want, a few extra ones in your car, carry them on you. You don't have to be an active addiction to use them. Phyllis is not the only person who has talked about, potential accidental overdose. It happens all the time. And the thing is that when we talked about opiates before, and it used to be like, the heroin trade back in the day, it's just not that anymore. It really isn't everything. It really doesn't look what it used to. So the things that we used to look for, it has changed. I've talked about it before on the show. The last time that I seen fentanyl, it was colorful. It looked like goldfish bowl sand, those little pebbles. And so, nerds. It looks like nerds, and it changes. It's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving, all these things all the time. And it's really hard to stay on top of it. But what you can do is carry a naloxone kit or a Narcan kit on you, the same way that you would, a little first aid kit in your car. Go ahead and reach out to us. We will let you know where you can get them. We always post our number up in all of the Facebook events, so that way you guys don't have to look too far. Again, and Calico's posted it in the comments, 250-289-3948. And while we're talking about phone numbers, #988 is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's for Canada and the US. You just have to hit, for us old folks, it's #988, and it will put you through to the professionals that will get you the resources that you need. And you know what? It doesn't necessarily have to be for you. If somebody in your life is struggling and you want to ask questions or you need a little bit more information, you can always go to them and see what you can do. You can come to us, see what you can do. There's a lot of really great communities out there. So please don't feel like you're alone in this. You just aren't. We are here. Phyllis is here. There's so many great recovery groups out there. Yeah, absolutely. And so please, yeah, it's stigma is the number one killer, no matter what way you want to look at it. And suicide, it doubles all mental health death. And when you look at it like that, like, those numbers are just too flippin' high. They're just too high.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Phyllis, I want to thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us at Pinecase and sharing your story and laughing and crying with us and just being super transparent and vulnerable. It means the world to me, and it makes a difference. And
thank you for having me. This is so healing for me. That's why I'm trying to get on as many as I can.
Yeah,
long time.
Yeah. If you guys have, like I said, this isn't the end of our relationship. Obviously, we're gonna make sure that we can help support you in any way with your podcast adventure. I'm super excited to see where you go and who you get to hang out with next.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I am too.
Like, so we'll definitely be following. You have to get in the Pinecase community, and you can share your journey with us, because I think it would be really
definitely. Someone said I should start a podcast on my own about raising my son through addiction and all that, but I'm like, I don't know, I'd rather just talk. I'm not doing all that. I can barely even work a mouse, let alone start a podcast. Okay, I ain't doing that shit. I drove you all crazy. What do I do? What button do I press?
We're like, we'll send you the link. We got you. No, you know what? I think that it's a really anyone can start a podcast. That's no secret. Everyone and their dog has a flipping podcast these days. Not all of them are great. Not all of them, a lot of them are kind of much of the same. And that's fine. Do what you got to do, and we'll all support you in that. However, if you are a guest, you just get to show up, tell your story, and then you get to take advantage of everybody else's audience. And I think that if the mission is to get the story out there and to advocate for your son in his life and potentially save some people, I think being a kick-ass guest is the way to do it. And I think it'll always be well received. You're absolutely a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Yeah, like, and it, for a lot of us, I know Calico is in there like, oh my God, I know what she's talking about, because we've been there. And I think you drive home just how real this is, that it's not some weird mythical, creature off to the side. People really do live through these things, and they really do, struggle, but they also can be, they can be resilient and push through. And so, I think there's just a ton of value in your story. And I think there's just a ton of value in how hard you love. And I just think, I think that you will absolutely contribute to ending stigma. So, if there's any way that we can,
he's sending you a picture of my tat and a video of the zip lining adventure.
There you go. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we'll all be waiting to see your awesome trip in Jamaica and everything that you have, to come. Yeah. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you so much.
It's massive. Thank you again for being a guest over here. You guys, once again, take care of each other, stay safe, and I guess I didn't forget this time. We will see you next Tuesday. Take care.
Awesome. See you later.
Please stay strong.
The further you take my vice away, I'ma run to it, refuse to hear my voice. Speak loud when I spit it, but you don't get it. You just wanna be a side critic. See somebody else showing hate in the side of the road with it. Now how would you feel standing on the sideline and watch the color of a nation deteriorate over time? The flag real high, but compassion 6 feet below. Now you're searching for that justice that decided to never show. Deny my place, I'm back with a trace. Keep up the pace, tight lace, game face. Get back in the race. Whatever they did could never be undone. Every dark night ends with the rising of the sun. Squandered every wealth that's built from the mud. Squandered every wealth that's built from the blood. Squandered every wealth that's built in chains. Stolen from the ancestors running through my veins.
With the strength of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant, please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong. We stay strong.
I can see, run to the light at the end of the tunnel winner.
We stay strong.
I can't breathe. We're gonna get oxygen without the justice system.
We stay strong.
And I know, gotta keep my head together.
We stay stay strong.
Don't doubt me, please don't doubt me.
Please stay strong.
Tell me how can we be strong if we still shooting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still looting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still hating? Please tell me now, please.